we are hosting again another pairing, young men who are already starting to make their mark in the world. They hail from CapBay, an award-winning fintech startup, and I hope you're already now Googling CapBay. And so let me call on Ang Xing Xian, the co-founder and CEO of CapBay, and Darrel Ang, the co-founder and Chief Business Development Officer. Let's start with, what is CapBay?
CapBay, we are actually a supply chain finance company. On one hand, we have CapBay Finance that actually provide a supply chain finance to the businesses, whether it's mainly via our P2P platform, CapBay P2P platform. On the other hand, we also run CapBay Enterprise Fintech Solutions, where we actually run the multi-bank supply chain finance platform in Malaysia with multiple banks participating on our platforms to provide supply chain finance solutions, leveraging on our technology.
You see yourself as a competitor to banks or complementary to what is already out there?
Our mission is not about providing as much financing to SMEs as possible, but it's about enabling a lot more smarter and more inclusive financing to SMEs. And we want to work with multiple parties, not just ourselves, not just the banks. We spend a lot of time working with individual investors via our P2P platforms, and also asset managers, institutional investors who would like to invest into the SME financing asset classes, even opening up our platforms for the banks to participate. So the whole idea is that with the platform, the banks can serve their existing segment better. They can serve the smaller SMEs that they previously couldn't serve that well. And then at the same time, also open up the same opportunities for the rest of the capital market to actually invest, to fund the SMEs alongside them as well. We actually have never seen the bank as our competition.
Of our target market as well, it's actually quite different. We really are looking at the underserved market, the tail end where banks are unable to provide financing to the SMEs. I think, through multiple reasons, either transaction size can be too small, or sometimes it's a segment that aren't really able to provide strong enough financials. I think that's typically one of the big reasons. Thirdly, also, I think in terms of volume, right? Some of the transaction sizes we're doing is like, 10, 15, 20 ringgit, by very, very small transaction sizes that banks aren't really able to do. And I think here, why we're able to kind of go to this level is not just because we're hungry, it's also because of technology that we introduce to the whole process.
How do you keep your NPS low?
The secret sauce is not so much in like the credit scoring, all those things, but it's more in this process risk, the transaction risk scoring, if anything, right? Is for us, if we have to look at the transactions, then how do we really take into account of the transaction risk, like the dispute and set off? So these are not the risks that traditional financial institutions look at the SME levels, because currently standard so-called credit evaluations pretty much rely on bank statements, your P&L, balance sheet, and all that, right? For us, those actually mean very little. A client that may look very risky to a bank actually may look very safe to us, and vice versa. Yeah. So because of that choice of where to play, and then focus our capability and operational aspects to play in that particular space, I think that's where we have been able to keep the default away from our P2P platforms.
Thank you very much for a great chat. I think we had a good time this past hour. So I also want to thank our audience, but also please join me to thank Xing Xian and Darrel.